Good morning. New Orleans police believe that Sunday's mass shooting all stemmed from a feud between two people. At this time, they know that at least one person fired off shots into the crowd and then ran off. 10 people were shot and transported to the hospital. 5 of the victims were women. The other 5 were men. Police say one 16-year-old was shot. The other victims are all between the ages of 21 and 36 years old. The New Orleans medical director gave us an update on their conditions, saying they all remain in the hospital but are stable. You can see that massive yellow piece of crane is still sticking out of the ground more than 36 hours since that implosion happened Sunday afternoon. Now, we know when that crane fell, it damaged a sewer line that runs underground. Now, that line has since been rerouted, but there's still a need to get this crane out of here. And just to give you some context, today is the 10th day since that collapse happened. So by the end of the day, it'll be around $4 million that the city has spent on their efforts. But they say once they find out who the party is that's responsible for this, they'll be billing them. We do know that OSHA has been investigating this and is learning more about who's at fault. This is only part of the tree that came down in this yard. Like so many other homes in this area, downed trees, debris, and tree limbs are all in the yard. And as you can see, this is actually where that tree fell down in the middle of this home. You'll notice there's a gaping hole in the middle. We're gonna go inside a bit to get you a better look at the extent of the damage. As you can see, it put a hole right through the roof. I spoke to the homeowner who tells me he ran for his life when the weather took a scary turn last night. We're here in Covington right now, where we're seeing a lot of flooding from the storms we saw here overnight. Behind me, you'll notice Archbishop Hannon High School. That entire parking lot is completely flooded. As you can tell, it looks like a lake. Now, I'm not sure if the inside of the school has been impacted or is flooded at this point. I will tell you, we were a little closer over there earlier this morning, and there is a bit of a dip into the parking lot, so that may have contributed to the pooling that we're seeing in the parking lot. The football field, that whole area just completely inundated. Police are actually stopping cars and making sure that they stop over here. You can kind of see it because the water is just so high in that area. We have seen a couple of semis go through pretty slowly. Some cars have been turning around. I'm here at Wardline Road and Kate Street, and this is where the 2 officers were hit. There's still signs of what happened this morning, gloves left behind and markings on the ground from where paramedics treated the officers. Both were transported to the North Oaks Medical Center about 10 minutes from here. This looks to be the source of where that water main break happened. Now, we did speak with Sewage and Water Board, and they said a 30-inch water main broke. And we also spoke to some people in the neighborhood who said that their water pressure is lower, but right now Sewage and Water Board is saying that it's not low enough to declare a boil water advisory. It's been a really exciting morning so far. In fact, the Tremaine Brass Band just performed to commemorate the occasion. The first flight is leaving out in around 30 minutes at 5:05. It's a Southwest flight headed to Atlanta, and as you can see, it's packed in this area. They're actually about to begin boarding here pretty soon, but they did have that brass band going. It was a whole celebration here. You can see that there are a lot of people standing by right now. They just started making announcements, but you know, this is a great occasion. A lot of people excited to be in this new airport. We've been waiting years for it to open up, and it's finally here. Now I'm joined by Ross and Juan, and they are both heading out on that first flight to Atlanta. And guys, they both live in New Orleans. They've both been in the old terminal. So talk to me about your first reaction stepping in here.
It's beautiful.
Holy Thursday here looks a lot different than any other in the past. Instead of eating those meals inside, as you can see, cars are already lined up along the restaurant, and it actually spans around the block with employees delivering food with face masks on and gloves. This wind is just really picking up, and it's been really strong in this area pretty much all day. We were here earlier today at 4 a.m. when this tree first fell down, and we spoke with a neighbor who heard the tree. She tells me that, in fact, part of that tree fell on her house first. I want to show you right there. Part of that tree fell on her house. You'll see it on top there. And then following that, this massive tree just collapsed. We just learned from the Emergency Operations Center here in Terrebonne Parish that right now the Coast Guard is trying to rescue 12 people from Ile de Jean Charles Island. Now, we're told that 12 of those people are still on that island. There was a voluntary evacuation yesterday, and that 4 of those people out of the 12 are elderly. Now, that island is about 45 minutes from where we are. We're still in Houma right now. Now, normally we would pack up and head that way, but we're told that it's a very dangerous situation, and the only road, very strong winds, the only road that you're able to get to that island, it's called Island Road. It's impassable at this point. Now, we are told that the Coast Guard was thinking about doing an air rescue, but they're not able to because these winds, as you can see with it blowing off my hood, and just tell all morning how strong these winds are. It's just too strong for them to do any air rescues, but right now they're trying to find other ways to rescue these people. Yes, Eric, they have gotten the fire under control. Just a few minutes ago, we did see them battling a small flare-up on top of the roof, but compared to what they've been working and dealing with for the last few hours, this is very small. They tell me when they first showed up at around 2:48 this morning, there were flames shooting right out of the top of the roof of the strip mall. Now, right now, we know that there are currently 22 firefighter units here, as well as 57 firefighters here working to gain control of this 3-alarm fire here at the intersection of White Street and Washington Avenue. Now, we know that this is a strip mall that caught on fire and that normally 8 businesses operate out of this strip mall. But due to the shutdown amidst this pandemic, only one store, a convenience store, was operating this week alone due to that shutdown. Now, we know that that convenience store was not operating at the time of the fire. We're still waiting on details to find out what actually caused this fire. Local law enforcement officers and federal agents are here in Bogalusa looking for multiple people they believe were involved in Saturday's mass shooting. Bogalusa police tell us that 12 men and 1 woman were shot at a memorial service barbecue for 29-year-old Dominique James, who was murdered in early May. Police tell us 12 of the victims are recovering and at least 1 person is in critical condition. The day of the shooting at around 5 p.m., police say they started getting calls of an illegal gathering with hundreds of people crowded near Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and East 4th Street. Only 5 officers were working at the time. They arrived at the event but were unable to disperse the crowd. As time went on, upwards of up to 800 people gathered there. Police say they got calls of shots fired at around 9:10 that night. Police are making it clear that no permit was given for this gathering. They're currently looking into who may have organized this event. We also know that right now there are no arrests in this case. Raymond Manson has a long history with Zulu. He joined the group in the 80s and has been a member ever since.
I was a young man and wanted fun because I used to attend all the parties.
For 32 years, he served as float captain.
Very firm, strict, knows what he wants, and he wants it that way. He's very particular, and he wants it right.
His direction and attention to detail made his float stand out. Over time, he collected enough trophies to line the wall in his living room.
They thought I was buying some of these trophies because they told me, Raymond, you buying them? I said, I'm not buying them. They're giving them to me.
But one of the most memorable awards he's received is a plaque acknowledging his service to Zulu over the decades.
When they give me this here, I had tears in my eyes. And I start thinking, when I started Zulu, I didn't know anything about Zulu, but I know so much about Zulu now.
Raymond Manson Jr. started riding on Zulu floats with his dad when he was just in junior high school.
It's better than Christmas, promise you. Better than my birthday.
And as the years went by, it became a tradition.
Everybody had to be here at my parents' house at 2 o'clock in the morning because the bus used to come, pick everybody up here, go to the hotel where we eat breakfast at and get made up. And when the parade is over, we come back here. My mom would make red beans and we had crawfish and a big old feast.
The family would look forward to preparing Zulu coconuts leading up to the parade. But Manson tells me it wasn't always as easy as it is now.
A long time ago, we used to have a raw coconut. We had to shave them, then drain them, and then seal them back, and then paint them, and then decorate them. So that was a job. That was second place, I think.
While touring his Zulu treasures at home, he showed us some of his old coconuts and the blinged out costumes he'd wear back in the day.
Matador.
And look at that, it still fits. Manson is now 83 years old, and after 35 years of brotherhood, he realized it was time to retire from captain.
The age and my knees slowing me up. So my doctor, he told me, he said, Raymond, you been around a long time. He said, it's time for you to settle down.
But he made sure to tell us he's still a Zulu member, and that's good news for his family.
My wife, she used to get kind of angry when I give the float up. You know what she told me? I finally have my husband back.
Family and some of his old parade riders will gather together Mardi Gras Day. And while Raymond Manson won't be in the parade, he'll still be there in spirit. Meghan Kee, Eyewitness News. Just hours into Mother's Day, we saw the brunt of heavy storms moving into our area at around 5 and 6 o'clock, flooding streets and causing power outages and road closures. Hours later, New Orleanians are dealing with the aftermath.
I want to get home. Trying to get home.
Left scrambling to find other ways to get around the city.
It's flooded out. I'm trying to find a way to get through the water because I'm not going straight through it and stall my car out.
As floodwaters recede across the city, parts of Basin Street are still underwater at around 9 a.m. this morning. This is hours after strong storms moved through our area, causing flooded streets, flooding businesses, and stalling cars. The storm knocked over garbage cans, littering the streets with trash. And people driving through the standing water didn't help the situation.
The cars, instead of coming through, pushing water through your homes and your business, I mean, they should take that into consideration, go another way where the water is low at. But they're coming through here, steady pushing water in our business.
That's the owner of Chef D's Cafe, located on the corner of Basin Street in North Robertson. He says he moved there in January, and his restaurant has already flooded twice. And it's especially difficult because today is Mother's Day.
I'm trying to sweep the water out, you know, just trying to clean up, see if I can open up if this rain hold up, or we can get ready for Mother's Day. I mean, we got 40, 50 reservations for Mother's Day.
Sewage and Water Board tweeted out that 115 of their 120 pumps are up and working, but one pump temporarily lost power. They say not all drainage pumps can operate simultaneously because that sort of effort would overflow downstream canals. For residents left cleaning up this morning, more needs to be done.
We need some help with this drainage around here. I mean, we're part of the French Quarter, we're part of New Orleans. We need help around here with this water.
Meghan Kee, Eyewitness News.